Colleen here, back to talk a bit more about nonprofit branding. One of the things that we frequently see when we start working with nonprofit clients is that they haven't really looked at their brand in comparison to competitors in quite some time. Just because you're a nonprofit doesn't mean you can't have a little competitive streak. Most nonprofits are typically competing with themselves, trying to serve more people or expand their reach over last year, but you're also competing for limited dollars out in the marketplace. Corporations have sponsorship budgets, grants are financially capped, foundations have giving priorities and allocations, so you may very well be competing with other organizations for those dollars, which means it's helpful to understand how your brand stacks up. To compare the strength of your nonprofit's brand to its competitors, there are a variety of elements you want to assess, ultimately with the goal of understanding your relative positioning and effectiveness. I always like to start with a brand audit. Look at all the elements of your own brand. Your visual identity, like your logos, fonts, and colors, as well as your foundational elements like your mission and values. And finally, take a look at your messaging and materials for overall brand consistency. Be sure to look across all of your offline assets like signage, print materials, promotional items gifted at events, as well as your online properties like your website, social media channels, and email communications. Remember here that a brand audit is just a reflection of your brand at that point in time. You will probably find inconsistencies, and that may be frustrating to some people or make some team members feel a little bit defensive. But that's not the intention here. The intention is to take a snapshot on where we are right now and make a plan to improve on it. Once you've audited your own brand, it's time to define who your primary competitors are. These should be organizations that work on similar causes or target a similar audience. Work through the same brand audit you completed for your organization for each of these competitors, and add one other layer. I want you to be mindful of any unique selling points they emphasize that make them different than or better than you. In some cases, you'll be able to make direct quantitative comparisons, like on social media. Take a look at your content as well as competitor content. How effective is their content in telling their brand story or engaging their online community? Make some notes about how effective or ineffective some of their campaign efforts appear. While observing can be very helpful, so can outright asking. If you've not issued a feedback survey in a while, this is also a great time to do that. Gather feedback from stakeholders, including donors, volunteers, and program beneficiaries. It will help you understand their perceptions of your organization's brand compared to those competitors. And if you want to go beyond surveys, interviews or focus groups can be helpful too for more qualitative information and depth. Some other ways you can make comparisons would be to look at donor loyalty or retention rates if you can get access to that data, or to look at financial filings to gauge the health of each organization and their funding streams. Additionally, take a look at the partnerships and sponsorships each organization has in place to assess their impact, associated brand recognition, and level of financial commitment. In closing, while conducting in-depth brand audits and issuing surveys might be infrequent activities, surveillance on your brand as well as competitor brands should be ongoing. If you don't have expertise with brand audits on your team, or this is the first time your team is taking this on, it can help to engage a consultant to ensure it's both a comprehensive and impartial analysis of your brand and competitors.